All right, guys, let's get to know our story for the week. The title of the story is Dogzilla. Okay, if you can't tell by the cover, the genre of the story is it's a fantasy story, which means if you remember, fantasy means it couldn't happen in real life. You know this is a fictional type story, even fantasy. So as we read, we're going to see the events and characters and things like that couldn't happen in real life. So let's get reading. It was summertime in the city of Mouseopolis, and mice from all corners of the community had come together to compete in the first annual barbecue cook-off. As the cook-off got underway, smoke from the hot grills lifted into the irresistible scent of barbecue sauce over the rooftops of the city. A gentle wind carried the mouth-watering smell into the distance, right over the top of an ancient crater. Before long, a strange and mysterious sound was heard. Sniff, 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 sniff. All at once the volcano began to tremble, and suddenly, up from the very depths of the earth came the most terrifying creature ever known to mousekind, the dreadful Dogzilla. Immediately, soldiers were sent out to stop the mighty beast. The heroic troops were led by the brave commanding officer, the Big Cheese. "All right, you old flea bag," squeaked the Big Cheese. "Get those paws in the air. You're coming with us." Without warning, the mousetress mutt breathed her horrible breath onto the mice. "Doggy breath!" screamed the soldiers. "Run for your lives!" "Hey, come back here!" shouted the Big Cheese to his troops. "What are you, men or mice?" "We're mice!" they squeaked. Said the Big Cheese. "You're right. Wait for me." The colossal canine followed the soldiers back to Mouseopolis, licking up all the food in her path. Afterward, Dogzilla wandered through the city streets, doing those things that come natural to dogs. Dogzilla chased cars right off the freeway. Dogzilla chewed furniture, and their furniture store as well. And Dogzilla dug up bones at the Museum of Natural History. Meanwhile, the Big Cheese had organized an emergency meeting with one of the city's greatest scientific minds, Professor Scarlet O'Hare. "Gentlemice," said Professor O'Hare, "this monster comes from prehistoric times. It is perhaps millions of years old. Maybe we could teach it to do something positive for the community," suggested the Big Cheese. "I'm afraid not," said Professor O'Hare. "You simply cannot teach an old dog new tricks. If we're going to defeat this dog, we've got to think like a dog. We've got to find something that all dogs are afraid of. Something that will scare the beast away from Mouseopolis forever." "I got an idea," squeaked the Big Cheese. Within minutes, the mice had assembled at the center of town. "All right," Dogzilla shouted at the Big Cheese. "No more Mr. Mice Guy. It's bath time." Suddenly a blast of warm, sudsy water hit Dogzilla with tremendous force. The panicking Pooch let out a burst of hot, fiery breath, and the chase was on. The Big Cheese tried to catch up to the hot dog with all the relish it could muster. Dogzilla high-tailed it out of town and back to the mouth of the ancient volcano. "Well, I'll be doggone," squeaked the Big Cheese. "It worked." With a horrifying memory of the bubble bath etched in her mind forever, Dogzilla never again returned to Mouseopolis. Within a year, Mouseopolis had rebuilt itself, just in time for the second annual barbecue cook-off. The mice of Mouseopolis fired up their grills, confident that they would never see or hear from Dogzilla again. However, there was one thing they hadn't counted on. Puppies! So as you saw, guys, as we read that story, it's clearly a fantasy story. Many things in the story couldn't happen in real life, but it was pretty entertaining. So if you think about the author's purpose for this story, we can conclude that the author wrote this story to entertain. It was a good story with the characters and a good plot that was very enjoyable and entertaining to read. So thinking about that, I want you guys to get out your journals, and I want you to open to the next blank page, and I want you to write about the story. Tell me, what did you like about this week's story? Or what did you not like about this week's story. I want at least a paragraph. So we're writing a paragraph about our story, our likes or dislikes, and if you have time, you can illustrate your writing as well.